welcome to Wizard Grandpa's Stories. To you? Yes, I'm talking. Oh, look, the children are here. Hello, how nice to see you. Welcome to Wizard Grandpa's Stories. I'm just talking to my friend Safira Squirrel here. She's going to have a very interesting day. I believe you're playing with your brothers and sisters today?
Oh, yes, we're going to play all day long.
And what game are you going to play?
Hide and seek. It's our favourite game.
Hide and seek. But that won't last the whole day, will it? I mean, it's a good game, of course, and there are plenty of places to hide in our garden, but it won't take very long the way you and your brothers and sisters run and scamper around so quickly.
I do have a lot of brothers and sisters.
You've got a lot of brothers and sisters. Yes, I seem to remember. How many do you have?
Umpty 3 at the last count.
Umpty 3. I'm not familiar with that way of counting. Umpty 3, you say?
Yes, of course, Umpty 3.
What kind of number is Umpty 3?
It's between Umpty 2 and Umpty 4. Don't you know about counting?
It's between Umpty 2 and Umpty 4. I see what you mean. Well, if you say so, then it must be true. There are a lot of them. I have seen them many times in the trees. So you squirrels have your own way of counting.
We have an umpty way of counting.
An umpty way of counting. Very well, very well. Is that how you count your nuts as well?
That's how we count everything.
That's how you count everything. Very well, that's fine by me. I shall leave you to your exciting game with your brothers and sisters. I'm going to the Storyfields now to tell a story to the children. When I come back, if you've finished your game, why don't you come and join me and we'll sing a song? Would you like that?
Oh, yes, I would.
Oh, good. I would like that too. Very well. Off you go. They'll be waiting for you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Have a lovely game. See you later. And I am going to the Storyfields. My knees. My knees. How nice to see you. Thank you for coming. It's quite exhausting. Anyway, at last we're both here. That's lovely. So, are you ready for a story? Good. Then I'm going to tell you the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, I know this story very well because Jack was a particular friend of mine. He told me this himself, so it must be true. So Jack was a young lad who lived with his mother in a cottage. And they had a big garden in which they grew vegetables. And they had a lovely cow who was almost part of the family. They ate their vegetables and they sold some in the market. The cow gave them milk, which they drank, and made butter and cheese, and sold some of that in the market too. So they made a good living for themselves. But then, one year, there was no rain. The vegetables didn't grow. The grass didn't grow. So there were no vegetables to sell in the market and no grass for the cow to eat. Their money ran out and they had no more food. So Jack's mother said to Jack, "Jack, you must go and sell our cow. She's all we have left, and if you sell her for a few pounds, at least we can buy some more food." "Oh, if you say so, mother. How much shall I sell her for?" "Well," said his mother, "you should get at least £10 for her. Maybe 12 if you can." "Certainly, mother. I shall get 15 or maybe 20. "You do that, my son. You do that." So the next day, bright and early, Jack set off for the market, leading their dear, sweet old cow. They travelled along the highway, and where they turned right onto the main road, an old man was standing there. And he said to Jack, "Hello, young fellow. What are you doing?" "Good morning, sir," said Jack, for he was a very polite boy. "I'm taking our cow to the market. We need the money, and I'm going to get as much as I can." "Oh, you're selling your cow, are you? I have something much more valuable than money, and I will give it to you in exchange for your cow." "Oh, sir, what could that be?" "Well," said the man, putting his hand into his pocket and pulling out 5 beans. "Oh, sir, those are beans, sir, and I need money." "Young man, these are not just beans. These are magic beans. And 5 magic beans is worth a lot more than any money you can imagine." "Oh, sir, if you say so." "I do say so. And what's more, I shall give you these beans in exchange for your cow. And if nothing magic happens overnight, you can bring them back to me here tomorrow, and I will give you back your cow." "Oh, sir, that sounds very fair. Yes, indeed, I will do that." So the man gave the beans to Jack, and Jack gave his cow to the man. And Jack ran home very excitedly and said, "Mother, mother, I've done it, I've sold the cow." And his mother said, "Oh, Jack, that was very quick. That didn't take you long at all. You must have got a very good price very quickly. What was it, 12, 15 pounds, 20 pounds? "Oh, no, mother. I got something even better. I got 5 magic beans." His mother looked at the beans. They looked just like any other beans. "You've done what?" she said. "You stupid boy. I've brought you up all these years to do a stupid thing like this. We have no money. We will starve. And you come home with 5 beans? They're magic, mother. Honestly, the man told me they're magic beans, not just any old beans." "Ha! Magic beans," she said, and she threw them out of the window. "That's what I think of your magic beans. Now you go to bed and stay there." Jack went to his bedroom and he went to bed. He didn't come down for supper. He stayed there all night. When he woke up the next morning, there was something strange about his bedroom. Although the sun was shining outside, the light in his room was pale green. He looked at the window, and the window was covered with gigantic leaves. He got up and looked out, and from the garden he saw sprouting 5 bean shoots, and they wound and twisted all around each other and grew up, up, up to the sky. But they were so thick, they were so huge, it was like 5 trees wrapping around each other. And the 5 magic beanstalks wound into one huge one, reached the clouds and disappeared in the cloudy sky. Jack was so excited, he threw on his clothes, jumped out of the window and climbed up the beanstalks. They went up, and he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. And he looked down and saw his mother's cottage far below him, like a toy cottage. He saw the fields of the countryside spread out far below him, like a map. And he went up and up and up, till finally he came to the clouds, and he climbed through the white, misty clouds until he was on the top side of the clouds. And the beanstalk was still there, going up, 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 up. But on top of the clouds, he saw a road, a white road. And he stepped off the beanstalk and onto the road and set off to explore. He walked along the road as it travelled on top of the clouds. And after a while, he saw a big building. It looked like a castle. And as he got nearer to it, he realised how big it was. It was very, very tall indeed, with huge doors and huge windows. Outside the front door of this castle was a very tall lady, twice as big as Jack. "Hello," said Jack. The tall lady looked down on him. "Oh, hello, boy. What are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm just exploring. You wouldn't have anything to eat, would you? I didn't have any breakfast this morning." Yes, come on in, come on in." So she sat him down at the kitchen table, gave him some bread and some milk, and started chatting, when suddenly the whole place started shaking. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if thunder was coming. Boom, boom. And an enormous voice was heard roaring. "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "Quick, quick," said the woman. "That's my husband coming. Hide, come here." Jack jumped down from his chair. She opened the oven door. He climbed inside. She closed it. It was cold inside. A giant stomped into the kitchen, and the whole place shook. "Wife, wife," roared the giant. "I can smell a man-child. Is there a boy somewhere in here?" "Oh, no, husband," said the lady, the giant's wife. "There is no boy here. You're just smelling the boy you ate for supper last night. Remember? The one you had grilled on toast?" "Oh, yes, of course. I remember." The giant had, tied to his belt, 3 sheep. He untied them, slapped them on the table, and said, "Here, wife, prepare this for my breakfast." So his wife cooked the 3 sheep, roasting them on the fire, and put them on the table for the giant to eat. And he gobbled them down very quickly. Then he said, "Wife, bring me my golden coins." And she brought him 3 sacks full of gold coins. And he opened them and counted them one at a time and put them all back into the sacks. And having done that, he fell asleep. Well, he'd eaten 3 sheep, so he was quite full. And his head went dunk on the table, just like that. Now, Jack, of course, inside the oven was listening to all this. And when he heard the giant begin to snore, which was like 3 thunderstorms inside your house, he climbed out of the oven and saw the sacks with gold coins in. He grabbed one of them and ran out of the door. He ran down the winding white road all the way to the beanstalk, and he climbed down. And it was quite hard climbing with a big sack full of gold coins. So he let it go, and it dropped down, and of course hit the garden, his mother's garden, where the bag burst open and the golden coins spread all over the garden. "What can this be?" his mother said, just as Jack arrived. "You see, Mother, I told you they were magic beans. And with those magic beans, we have got gold, lots of gold." So Jack and his mother gathered up the gold coins, and with them, they bought a new cow. And they went to town and bought themselves new clothes and bought plenty of food. And they lived on those gold coins for a long, long time, and they lived very well. But after quite a while, the gold coins were all gone. And Jack said to his mother, "You know, I think I should go and see if I can find anything else in the place where those gold coins came from." "Very well, Jack, you know best, but be careful." So he climbed up the beanstalk once more, up and up and up, all the way to the clouds, and through the clouds and up on top of the clouds, where he saw the white road. And he set off on the road as it wound across the top of the clouds to the gigantic castle. He knocked on the gigantic door, and the giant's wife opened the door and looked down on him and said, "You again? Last time you were here, there was some trouble. The bag of gold disappeared. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?" "Me?" said Jack innocently. "Me? Oh, no, I wouldn't know anything about that. No. I was just wondering if you would have some breakfast for me." Said the giant's wife. "Come on in." So Jack came in and sat down at the kitchen table, and she gave him some bread and some milk, and they were chatting when the house began to shake. Boom, boom, boom. The gigantic footsteps of the giant, boom, boom, were shaking the whole building. "Quick, quick, quick," said the giant's wife. "Hide in the oven." She opened the oven door, he popped inside, and she closed the door. It was cold. And then the giant arrived in the kitchen, and his gigantic voice called out, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." And his wife said, "Husband, stop making that noise. There are no Englishmen around here, no men, no boys, nothing like that. If you think you can smell something, that's because you had those 2 boys last night for supper. There are none of them around anymore." "All right then," said the giant. He brought with him 2 cows. He threw them onto the table and said to his wife, "Cook these for my breakfast." So she roasted them on the fire and put them in front of him for him to eat. He gobbled his way through them in no time at all. And then he said to his wife, "Wife, bring me my hen." And she brought him a hen and put it on the table in front of him. He stroked the hen, and she clucked a little bit, and then he said, "Hen, lay." And she laid a golden egg. He picked it up, put it in his pocket, and then he said once more, "Lay." And she laid another golden egg, and he picked it up and put it in his other pocket. And then he promptly fell asleep. Well, he'd eaten 2 entire cows, so he was quite full and really quite sleepy, and his head fell onto the table like this. Bang! And then he was snoring like having 3 thunderstorms in your kitchen. Well, once Jack heard the snoring, he knew the giant was asleep. So he opened the oven door and crept out. And he saw the hen on the table, and he'd heard what the giant had said. So he grabbed hold of the hen and ran out of the door. The hen, however, started clucking. The hen was quite used to the giant and liked living there. And suddenly this strange boy was stealing her away. Cluck, 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 cluck. The giant woke up and saw Jack running out of the door with his hen under his arm. Well, the giant didn't like that one bit, and he picked up a huge club and chased after Jack down the winding white road towards the beanstalk. The giant swung his club at Jack, and Jack dodged, and it missed, and he carried on running and running and running, and the giant was doing his best to club Jack, but Jack ran even faster. Even so, the giant was catching up. But then, luckily, a great bank of fog drifted across the path, and Jack leapt into a ditch by the side of the road, and the giant ran past him into the mist and couldn't find Jack at all. Jack stayed where he was until the giant came back and went back to the castle, very angry. Jack crept out of the ditch, ran along the road back to the beanstalk and climbed down, carefully holding the hen. And when he arrived home, his mother said, "What have you got now, Jack?" And he said, "It's a hen, Mother." And she said, "I can see that. We can get hens anywhere. Why did you go to all the trouble of going up there and coming back with a hen?" And Jack said, "Watch this," and put the hen on the table and said, "Lay." And the hen clucked a bit and then laid a golden egg. Said Jack's mother. Took the egg, solid gold. And Jack said once more, "Lay." And the hen laid another golden egg. Well, now that Jack and his mother had a hen that laid golden eggs, they had all the money they could ever need. Whenever they needed to buy something, they would just ask the hen for a golden egg. So they were rich, and rich for their whole lives. But after a while, Jack became a bit bored. And he felt he would like a bit of excitement, a bit of danger, a bit of climbing up the beanstalk to that world of the giant. So he did that. He climbed the beanstalk once again, found himself in the land above the clouds, and followed the white, winding road to the giant's castle. Now this time, he knew that neither the giant nor the giant's wife would welcome him, for they surely knew that he'd stolen the hen that laid the golden eggs. So when he came to the door of the castle, he opened it himself very carefully, crept inside. The oven, where he usually hid, was hot. Something was cooking in there. The giant's wife was not in the kitchen. So he climbed onto the table and climbed inside a huge saucepan. And he hid carefully there at the bottom of it. Shortly after that, the giant's wife came in and started stirring a pot on the stove. Then the place began to shake. Boom, boom, boom. The giant footsteps of the giant himself began to make themselves heard. And then his incredible voice boomed out, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." The giant's wife said, "Don't be silly, husband. There's nobody here. You're just smelling the boy you ate last night for supper. There are no Englishmen or English children or boys or anybody around here now. Stop making it up and sit down and have your breakfast." Well, she was cooking 3 big deer on the fire and roasting them to perfection. Meanwhile, in the oven, there was a big pie. So she put the deer on the table and the pie as well, and the giant ate and ate and ate, and in no time at all had gobbled it all up. Jack was still hiding inside the saucepan, and no one knew he was there. When the giant had finished eating, and he was feeling full and tired, he said to his wife, "Wife, bring me my magic harp." So she brought a harp, placed it on the table beside the giant, and the giant said, "Harp, play." And the harp began to play and sing. And the most beautiful music you have ever heard came from the harp. It was so beautiful and soothing, the giant soon fell asleep. And as he snored and snored, and snored like 3 thunderstorms in your kitchen, the harp stopped playing. Jack climbed out of the saucepan. The giant's wife had her back to him, so she didn't see when he grabbed hold of the harp, jumped down from the table, and ran out of the door. The harp yelled out, "Master, master, I'm being stolen! Master, help me, help! Master, help!" The giant woke up at the sound of the harp calling. He grabbed his great club and chased after Jack, swiping this way and swiping that way with his club. But Jack ran and ran and ran, holding the harp with the harp crying and calling. The giant had eaten so much that he couldn't run his fastest, so he was panting and puffing and not catching up with Jack. Jack got to the beanstalk first and climbed down, holding the harp, climbing, and when he was about halfway down, the whole beanstalk began to shudder and shake, and Jack looked up and saw the giant climbing down the beanstalk above him. Well, he climbed down even fast as he could. He almost slid the rest of the way down the beanstalk and called, "Mother, mother, bring me the axe, quick, quick!" His mother brought him the shiny new axe they'd bought. He took hold of it and chopped and chopped and chopped at the beanstalk and chopped until the beanstalk was chopped all the way through, and it fell over. The giant who was climbing down fell with it and crashed onto the ground. And he was dead. It took Jack 3 days to dig a hole big enough to bury the giant. The beanstalk, it had fallen down and would grow no longer. Jack found 5 little beans growing on that beanstalk, and he picked them and put them in his pocket as a souvenir of the great adventures he'd had in the giant land above. Jack and his mother lived happily for a long, long time. They had the hen with the golden eggs, and they had the harp that played and sang whenever they needed entertainment. And Jack lived to be an old, old man, and he always carried those beans in his pocket to remember his adventures by. And then, one day, Jack was walking along the road when he met a boy, and the boy was leading a cow. And Jack said, "What are you doing, little boy?" And the boy said, "Oh, I'm taking our cow to the market. I have to sell it because we need some money." Jack looked at the boy, put his hand in his pocket, and pulled out the 5 magic beans he'd been carrying with him ever since he was a boy. And he gave them to the boy and said, "Here, take these 5 magic beans. When you get home, plant them in your garden and see what happens." And that is the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. I hope you liked it. Jack told me that when he was an old man, and that was a long, long time ago. And now I must go home. Somebody's waiting for me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, here I am. I'm home again. Home. I'm home. Anyone here?
Yes.
Oh, Safira.
Yes.
You were waiting for me. How nice, how nice. Oh, it's good to see you. Now, Safira, I was telling the children the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. And in that story, there are 5 magic beans that grow into gigantic beanstalks.
Yes, I know it too.
Now, I don't know if you know, but in my garden, I have many, many vegetables growing. And not just beanstalks, all kinds of vegetables. And, you know, I feel a bit sorry for them, just sitting there in the ground all day. So, do you know what I do? I give them dancing lessons.
No.
I do. I give dancing lessons to my vegetables, and then on Saturday night we have a barn dance and we all dance together. I have a song about that. But before I sing it, I'm going to ask the children a question. Now then, children, you can tell me the answer after the song. And the question is, what is it that you have to break before you can use it? What is it that you have to break before you can use it? I'll tell you the answer after the song. I sing and dance around the plants, it keeps me happy all day. I skip and hop among the crops the agricultural way. Kick up your heels and join the dancing, let's be merry and bright. The vegetable barn dance is on a Saturday night. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold the turnips tight and swing the carrots again. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold the turnips tight and swing the carrots again. The plants you eat don't like to meet, they're not a sociable bunch. They hate to talk or take a walk and never go out for lunch. And that's why I like to take them dancing, if they like it or not. The vegetable barn dance is such a sociable spot. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold the turnips tight and swing the carrots again. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold the turnips tight and swing the carrots again. You'd think that they would thank me for the effort. You'd think they would be pleased with what they got. But they're gloomy and suspicious, and sometimes can be vicious, especially when they think there is a vegetable plot. My dancing class upon the grass is never short of recruits. Potato sweet with 2 left feet keep tripping over their roots. Lettuces and tomatoes take their partners by the hand. The vegetable barn dance is the best in all the land. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold your turnips tight and swing the carrots again. Parsnips to the right, cabbages to the left side. Hold the turnips tight and swing the carrots again. So you see, Safira, I like to take the vegetables dancing on a Saturday night. Oh, let's not forget to ask the children about the question. So who knows the answer? What is it that must be broken before you can use it? Well, it's an egg, of course. An egg. So, it's time for us to go, Safira. Bye-bye, children.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
And come again for another story and another song. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.